Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today I want to talk about the best 8 games I saw at Origins 2025. I would have called this game the best 10 games I saw, but honestly, only 8 games really excited me. And to be very clear, before you get all up in arms about SETI and this and that, or even the games I showed in any of my other videos, what I mean by that is there's lots of games that are very, very good and games that do excite me. SETI is definitely on that list, as well as many others. This specifically are 8 games I discovered, so to speak, at Origins 2025, with some caveats and exceptions, but 8 games that I walked away from Origins more excited about or learning about for the first time. Those are the categories here. More excited about or learning about for the first time, and I didn't get to 10, I only got to 8. 6 of these I've had a chance to play, either fully or demo in some capacity. 2 of them I just learned more about how they played, so, giant asterisks around whether those are actually going to be any fun. Honestly, in all of these, I'll give you the appropriate asterisks, and I will say asterisks. The appropriate asterisks. I will say that, especially as you get to the higher end of this list, I am very excited about some of these. Some of these I got to play a full game, some I got to play a full round, but I didn't anticipate coming back with 8 games that I would be excited about. Origins had a lot of things that I already knew about, and some of these I didn't know that I'd be seeing them there, and now I'm excited. So, in case you want to know upcoming games that might be worth your attention, here are 8 that I am more excited about because of Origins 2025. We're going to start off, we're going to be ranking these in terms of least excited to most excited, working our way up, and that means the 2 that I didn't actually get to play at all are going to be at the tail end. We have Wispwood from CGE. I did know about this game before Origins, I just didn't really get a chance to see how it played until Origins, where I got a bit of a demo of the actual gameplay. There's not a lot on this actual page, so I can't show you that much, but the general idea of Wispwood is you are going to be drafting tiles from this center little, not really rondelle, but center area, drafting tiles, and you place them down to your grid in order to place those tiles such that they fulfill scoring criteria that will be on these variable cards. So you're kind of creating semi-polyomino shaped patterns, but through grabbing various tiles from the board in order to place them down to your grid, and you have these different scoring criteria so that, pumpkins will score like this, and trees will score like this. And then, yes, if you've seen the kinds of games that I enjoy, you have different scoring cards so that in one game, pumpkins score in this pattern, and in a different game, they score in a different pattern. So you can mix and match different cards to give you different scoring criteria that you are aiming for as you play through the game. So overall, looked like the kind of game that I would definitely enjoy, but also it is a crowded field in terms of the games that I enjoy in this category, so we'll see whether Wispwood manages to stick the landing. Coming in at number 7, we have one that is far more unique, and I will say, no offense to Smirk and Dagger, I was not pulled in by the look of this game. This is not one that I walked I saw the game, I was like, oh, I want to play that game. It has a stained glass look, but it's a little too colory in a way that feels... Gaudy is the wrong term, but I do want to say it feels a little gaudy in terms of the look of it. The look is not what pulled me in here, it's the description of the gameplay that definitely pulled me in. You see, when it comes to Enthroned over here from Smirk and Dagger, Enthroned basically has a 2-player abstract strategy, hidden movement, hidden role game, kind of. You basically are going to have control of one of these characters. Not really control, you can move any of these characters around the board, but one of them is your character. And there's several ways to win. You can get your character to the center of the board. You can have your character take out 3 other characters or whatever. There's 3 specific characters your character can take out. So there's different ways you can win, and you're working your way towards different objectives, but you're trying to make sure it is not clear to your opponent who you are so they cannot stop you. So if you played games like, I don't know, Veiled Fate, for example, you have that kind of that strategic deduction element going on in the game. That wasn't the hook on its own. That's fine, but that's not where the game got me. Where the game got me is there's a separate sideboard you can kind of loosely see on the side of the screen over here, in which you choose a character to activate and you move its tile. But each character has different rules as far as how they move. So when you activate a character, you're going to move it to the bottom where it can't activate until you move further up the chain. So there's always a timeout on the character activations. There's also, you can only actually attack other characters from the very top 2 spots. So you have all these rules. You can only enter the center from the top 3 spots. So there's different rules as far as how you can get things done in this game, and that numbering track is a big part of the timing as well as the hiddenness of how you're going to try to limit how obvious you're being. I don't know if the game's going to be good or not. All I can say is from the actual gameplay of how it plays, this seems like the kind of strategic deduction that I would appreciate the most. I definitely went from Enthroned not really being on my radar. Well, I knew it existed, but that's kind of it, to being very interested in playing this one, but I have not played it at all yet, so my opinion is still in that trial phase. Then we have Grendel over here. Grendel is one that I still have intro thoughts on. You will be seeing a full review on it soon because the crowdfunding campaign is coming up fairly soon. This is launching from Off the Page Games, who have done Mind Management, which I think is fantastic. They've done Core of Discovery, which I think is fantastic. And they've done that other one, which is, I'm not remembering the name of it, but I think it's good. Harrow County, which I think is very good. But two fantastic games and a very good game is a good starting point. And Grendel, I don't think it's going to beat Mind Management. I don't know if it's going to be Core of Discovery. There's things I like better about Grendel and things I like worse, but I got a chance to play it for the first time at Origins. Again, I will have more content for you on this one once I dive into it more. But overall, Grendel is asymmetric factions, playing an area control puzzle, but each faction is its own little minigame. Do you want the dice placement puzzle? Do you want the bag building puzzle? Do you want the board building as you move through? Do you want to push your luck? There's different elements you're going to be going through as you take control of different factions in the world of Grendel, which granted is not a comic I'm familiar with, but it is a comic that exists. That's what Off the Page Games does. But Grendel's going to have you controlling your characters, trying to play your own unique little minigame as you try through scoring the various areas of the board. There's 3 main areas of the board. Each one will score once, kind of, well, that's a little more complicated. It scores 5 times, but you score each of the main areas once, and then you go back and score the remaining areas just to avoid players feeling the need to leave an area behind now that it's no longer scoring. So you do want to maintain control in different areas, but ultimately you're trying to play towards your faction's unique asymmetry as you go through it, and it plays well 2, 3, and 4 players. I believe there's a full solo mode as well, but I haven't done that yet. But this is Grendel. Very, very unique. I think it's a little too chaotic for it to beat Core of Discovery for me, but the actual gameplay is very satisfying. So we'll see. We'll see. I have more time. I do think it's going to be, I think, again, Mind Management, Core Discovery, and then Grendel. But don't get me wrong, at least so far, I'm definitely enjoying what Grendel is doing. Strong asymmetry combined with area control makes for a very fun and unique puzzle. Then we have Take Time. Now, this is where we get to a whole bunch of games that they're all honestly fantastic. I'm kind of surprised that Take Time is this low. It's my number 5, I guess. 7, 8, 7, 6, 5. It's my number 5 over here. I'm kind of surprised it's that low, but it was an excellent experience. Take Time is kind of like if you enjoy the mind. It's got that kind of vibe. Basically, the idea of Take Time is coming from Libelud, and the general idea of it is you're going to be given a set of constraints that you're trying to work towards, and you have different challenges. So when you beat the first challenge, you get harder and harder challenges to work through as a team. It's a cooperative experience. But players are going to have cards, but you don't know what cards other players have. So you have different numbers, you have different cards, and you know that I might know that you have 2 black and 1 white card, but you could have a different range of numbers. And then we need to play cards around this center dial in order to fulfill the criteria, but one of the main criteria is it has to be ascending in order as you go. And so you're playing cards face down, and you can add multiple cards to a stack, and you don't know how it's going to reveal as you turn things over, and so you're trying to predict the unpredictable. You're trying to play with the other players as they have certain requirements, certain restrictions as to where and how they can play cards, and you're all trying to be on the same wavelength. When they played a card to that second slot, was that a 2, a 5, a 7? Where could it have been? If they played a second card to the first slot, it's got to be a low number, right? Because that'd be crazy to play a second card to the first slot without it being a low number. It really is. If you've played the mind, the game, no, the mind. If you've played the mind, it has that vibe as you slowly work together with your team members to kind of get on the same page as to how to play the game without clearly defining the rules, but learning a set of how you all play and what you think is reasonable risk and where you're likely to place a number when you shouldn't have placed it. You will slowly learn each other's ins and outs. I played this a bunch at Origins. I had a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of the mind, and I think I'll be a big fan of Take Time as well. Then we have Journeys from Afar, Ketsueki. This is coming to you from Indie Boards and Cards, designed by Travis Chance, and this is one I actually have played before. So this was a little asterisk. I debated whether to include this one, but when I played it the last time, I played a prototype that had barely any art or any art to really look at. Honestly, even here, you're not really seeing the full art. Like, you're seeing just the single main image. There's a lot more art already for this game, but I got a chance to see a not final, but closer to production copy of the game, which looked significantly more beautiful. So again, I debated whether to include it. It's the only one that I was already excited about before this campaign. I guess it depends how you count that. Like, Grendel I was excited for because of the publisher, but not because of having played the game. Versus Journeys from Afar, I'm excited about because I've seen that it looks pretty in addition to playing well, if that makes sense. But this is going to be similar vibes to Forsaken. Forsaken also from Travis Chance, done by, oh my gosh, some game trays. This is similar and yet very, very different at the same time. You have this kind of world jumping aspect, these different worlds you're going to be jumping apart with these characters, and the strong sandbag feel to the game experience as you try to figure out how to accomplish your goals. Every character is going to have a sequence of goals they're trying to accomplish, and they're going to have their action economy that they're trying to work with. I do think this felt like a very good blend of mechanics and story, leaning a bit more into the mechanics than something like Forsaken. I think it's a bit more approachable. Forsaken's a lot more going on to it, but definitely similar vibes. Not that you've necessarily played Forsaken, it's not out yet, but if you've been excited about Forsaken, I think Journeys of Afar, the Ketsueki, definitely leans into that same kind of approach. If you like open-ended sandbox games that give you a lot to do, that are very satisfying experiences, as you mostly kind of brush past the neighbors in the night, but occasionally have to interact with your other players in this game, I very much enjoyed this one. This is Journeys of Afar, the Ketsueki. I think it's a lot of fun, and this time it's pretty. This time it's pretty. Then we move on to number 3. Hercules and the 12 Labors. You can still late pledge this game, so check it out if you are interested, but Hercules and the 12 Labors is from Envy Born Games, who they've already done Confusing Lands, which is one of my favorite games in that it's a great game. Confusing Lands is great, check that out. But Hercules and the 12 Labors is also great, and I had a chance to actually play it for the first time. Until now, I've seen it, I knew it existed, I never had a chance to actually play this one until now, but this is a strong solo game that I only played a few rounds, so take it with a grain of salt. I have not played a full game, definite grain of salt over there. Maybe the full arc of the game is just not satisfying, but the few rounds I played were very much satisfying. The general pitch of the game is as a solo game where you're going through these 12 challenges, these monsters that are escalating as you go through the game, but you are also powering up, gathering more equipment and tools at your disposal. You see, you're going to be rolling dice, and each monster has different dice combinations that you can use to reduce their health total, but every turn you don't take them down, they are slowly hitting you. They're reducing your health, making you discard things. They're doing all these kinds of things to get in your way if you're not careful. And you're trying to power your way through the monsters while powering up, while utilizing all your tools, all your abilities at your disposal to be able to move from monster to monster. I really enjoyed the few rounds I played. Again, I can't speak for the arc of the full game, but I imagine it'll be fun because Envy Born Games puts out pretty good stuff, and if I like the first few rounds, like, it would just have to be broken at this point for me not to enjoy it, because I like the gameplay feel of it. So it felt like a fun solo puzzle where you're trying to optimize around how to get to the end by using the tools at your disposal. I really enjoyed it. Plus, it's beautiful because it's got gold shiny foil all over everything. And again, you could late pledge this one right now, or you could just wait and see, because who knows? Maybe it's not that good. Maybe I just the only one who liked it. But I'm definitely not the only one who liked it. But maybe it's not that good. You can wait and see, or you can check it out. But I really enjoyed playing this one, and I was excited for it before. But I was excited for Hercules and the 12 Labors when they were putting it out because it's Envy Born Games and Confusing Lands, but not all games are going to be great, and I'm always mindful about, should I put my money into a game that might not deliver? But this one, having played it, I'm significantly more excited for. My number 2 are going to be coming from Asmodee, and it is what it is. Like, I almost feel bad putting the top 2 directly from Asmodee, but like, they were good games, and so it is what it is. We have Seven Wonders Dice. I was excited for this when I first heard about it, and then immediately tempered my expectations because, hey, a dice version of a game that I already love is not going to be good. But I did like this one a lot. I played through a full game of this one. We didn't actually finish scoring because we were moving to the next game, but we did all the stuff. I don't know who won, but it was a lot of fun playing through it. The general pitch is you're going to be rolling dice in a public box. I believe it's 7 dice if I'm not mistaken. And then every player drafts a die, but you're not drafting to remove from a player. You can select this. So similar to games like Welcome To, you could all select the same stuff. So it's developed asymmetry as you choose different things that will change the way you play out your board. From there, you're going to the typical Seven Wonders kind of stuff. You have different avenues. Then blue dice will just score points in the buildings. You have building up your resources, building up your technologies, all these different things you're doing. You have war with your neighbors that doesn't really have a round structure the way Seven Wonders normally does. Instead, you just get to go ahead and build up your defense and then just attack your neighbors whenever you want. Well, not whenever you want. You have a limit to how many times you can attack each neighbor, but you are kind of doing all the Seven Wonders stuff. But instead of phases 1, 2, and 3, you're instead just drafting dice and doing things as they come. I had a lot of fun with this one. I thought it was very familiar and yet also very different. It definitely leans a bit more into the chaos, a little less strategy, but it did feel like if you like games like Welcome To, where you're being dealt a hand and it's kind of up to you to see what you can do with how can you make the best out of the hand. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It is a lot of managing your economy and choosing the right dice at the right time and trying to work your way towards those victory points better and faster than the other players. It was fun. I liked it. I can't wait to play this one again. And then my number 1 game from Origins is definitely The Hobbit There and Back Again. for Maida Knizia and Office Dog. This was a lot of fun. Like, if you like games, I'm seeing if I can show you better pictures. Honestly, there's not like a lot of images I can really show you here. This is like, and this is maybe the best we can see. Let's see. Here we go. This is the best we can see. This is kind of if you took the Hobbit and made a Railroad Inc. style game. That's what's going on here. You're going to be rolling dice in the game, and then you're going to be drafting dice. One at a time, players are going to be drafting dice. Unlike Seven Wonders, you are taking those dice so other players can't take them. You're using those dice to draw various routes on your board. Other things too. Sometimes you want swords. Sometimes you're gathering bread. Sometimes you're drawing routes. You're doing different things, but primarily you're going to be drawing a lot of routes on your board to connect different things as you go on this journey. So, for example, the first scenario we played has you trying to connect the various dwarfs to the Hobbit hole as they try to go ahead and join up for the beginning of the Hobbit. But then from there, you'll be going on different journeys that will have different ways you go through the story, all while playing this game of drawing paths on your board and dice drafting. It's definitely on the lighter side. I do think it's the weight class of Railroad Inc. with a healthy dose of story and like that thematic feeling to it, but it's the weight class of Railroad Inc. It has similarities to Railroad Inc., but it feels very distinct and different at the same time. I really enjoyed playing through this one, and I'm excited to dive into it. I think this one more so than the others kind of left me wanting because I played that first scenario, and I'm like, but there's all these other scenarios. I want to see how those play out as well. And I do think it has replayability. One of the downsides of games like this is I do think that Railroad Inc. has more replayability. Whenever something is scenario-based or episodic, even though there's not really a campaign here in any typical sense, at the same time, I feel like a little sense of completion once I've gone through them all, and I never really have that with a game like Railroad Inc. That said, I do think I absolutely would play the initial scenarios again as I go through it. It was fun, simple, charming, accessible. If you like the Lord of the Rings universe, The Hobbit in particular, this is definitely worth checking out. If you like games in the weight class of Railroad Inc. and with the gameplay similarity, then you should definitely check this out as well. This is The Hobbit There and Back Again, the game from Origins 2025 that I am most looking forward to. These are my 8 games from Origins, a whole bunch of games that I walked away from Origins significantly more excited about or just learning about for the first time, and I wasn't expecting to discover half these games, but I am very glad I did. In any case, then until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.